Hello channel NITT viewers, I am DS Psychologist and welcome to another episode on channel NITT. So in our previous episode, we talked about the ENTJ as a parent. In this episode, we are going to talk about the ENTJ's ideal child. So which MBTI type is the ENTJ's ideal child? But before we start, we need to address one very important question. Is MBTI type a matter of nature or nurture? In other words, is MBTI type inherited or is it a result of the environment or upbringing? So based on my personal experience at home and at work as a psychologist, I have come to this conclusion. MBTI is not inherited. Why? Because a lot of the parents that I observe do not have the same cognitive stacks and even cognitive functions as their children. So in my case, my dad is an ESFP and my mom is an ISTP. Even though I have exactly the same cognitive functions as my dad, they are really in a different order. A lot of the parents that I have worked with also have a different cognitive stack as their children. Interestingly, a lot of J parents have P-type children. And the reverse is true. A lot of P-type parents have J children. They are so blessed. So personally, I believe that your MBTI type came about as a result of a very complex interplay between childhood experiences and your inborn nature. So inborn capabilities such as intelligence may play a very important role in determining which function tends to become dominant and which becomes auxiliary, and hence your MBTI forms. So definitely it has very little to do with heredity. It has to do with how you as an individual, how you as a child interact with the experiences that you were given by your parents. So you may have P-type of parents who are very indulgent or even negligent, but the children may actually thrive in that kind of environment. So as a child, definitely I do not know anything about MBTI, but I know that my parents gamble almost every day and I need to fend for myself. So having that kind of realization, that kind of awareness, I really work very hard because I know that my parents may not be able to provide for me. But this is purely how I think. Another child in the same family may have reacted totally differently and hence have a different MBTI type. So to look at it that way, it is also not very possible to manipulate a child to become a certain MBTI type because the child chooses himself or herself. So as an ENTJ parent, I would definitely love to have an ENTJ child, if not an INTJ child. Why? Because our cognitive functions are really very similar. I would be able to understand this child much better. I know that I can trust this child too. So this child is likely to be intelligent, this child is likely to be efficient and have all the same values as the ENTJ. Because why? This child is an ENTJ. However, from my personal experience as a child psychologist, I understand that the parent's MBTI is seldom the same as the child's MBTI. But of course, we are talking about the ideal situation, right? One good thing about the ENTJ child is that the ENTJ child is definitely very low maintenance in terms of emotions. When I was a child, my parents were seldom at home, so I managed myself. So I became self-sufficient, but as a result, I also turned cold towards others. So I'm not too sure that as a parent, I really want that for a child also. One thing about the ENTJ child is that the ENTJ child is unlikely to have a childhood. They grow up too quickly. So at the age of 8, I think I am really behaving like an adult. So is that a good thing? I'm not too sure either. And the same might go with the INTJ child. I think the INTJ child is really a very different individual. Even though I might understand the INTJ child may have a lot of internal problems. And given that I am not FE oriented, so it is quite difficult as a father for me to actually talk to the child, even though I'm a psychologist. So ideal children for the ENTJ definitely will be the ENTJ, INTJ. I don't mind having an ENFJ as well. So fellow ENTJs, what about you? Which MBTI type would you like to have as your children if you could choose? So this is a very short episode. I hope you have enjoyed it nonetheless. At Channel NITT, we produce a lot of MBTI videos. If you have a topic for us to do, please comment below and we'll look into it. And if you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more MBTI, ENTJ and fun stuff. Okay, I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in our next episode. Goodbye!